Okay, so I went over the whole drawing with a ultra fine point Sharpie, and then I took my eraser and I just erased all the pencil lines, went over the top of it and erased the pencil. Now the next step is I'm going to start coloring. So for the face, I like to use, there's several type of markers I'm going to use. I'm going to use watercolor markers first because they allow for some blending, and then I'm going to use paint markers, acrylic paint markers of the background, which I'll show you when I get to that. So a lot of people use Copic markers or Copic markers. I see a lot of kids love when their parents spend a lot of money and get the Copic markers. They're really expensive. They're alcohol-based markers, and I actually have never used them. I just don't want to pay that much for markers. So I found these Tombow markers, Tombow, and they come in all different kinds. These happen to be the portrait ones, but they come in, I have a bunch of different ones. They have landscape sets. They come in sets, and you can also buy them individually as well. They also come with little blenders. They're like a blank marker that you can use to blend the colors together, but I find that those run out really fast. So I end up just using water. I've got a cup of water over here, and I've got a couple brushes that I'm going to use, and I'm just going to use water to blend the markers together, like watercolor paint. I also have another set that I got at Michael's. These are Artist Loft. They're even cheaper than the Tombow markers. They're watercolor markers, the same exact kind of thing. And I got this huge set for maybe around 15 bucks, I think. But I like these. They're not permanent. They are watercolor markers, but I like them for their shading. So I'm going to start out by coloring the whole face with the light color, and then I'm going to add some shadows with the darker colors wherever I feel is necessary, and then I'm going to take my brushes, dip them in water, and I'm going to blend them a little bit. So I might fast forward through this part while you're watching. So. Okay, so next I'm going to add some shadows, and I don't just randomly add shadows, wherever I feel like it. I kind of try to imagine where those shadows would be based on where the shadows normally are in a face, where the light's coming from. But I know that there's going to be a shadow along the side of the nose, so we're going to just add a little shadow right there. Later, I'm going to go and blend these in. There might be a shadow like under this bag under the eye. So I'm going in with the first value. I ended up deciding not to use that value really. So then I'm going to make a shadow kind of inside these smile lines. Then there'd be a little bit of a shadow under the nose, on the side of the nostrils. I'd make a shadow kind of on the other side of the nose, again under this eye. Then there'd usually be a little bit darker shadow on the side of the face, a shadow underneath the chin, shadow underneath. You might be able to hear my dogs fighting right now. They're playing. Make a shadow there under the lips. A little shadow on this side. And then probably like a bit of a shadow under the hat. And then we'll make a little shadow on this eyelid part right here. Okay, so we'll call that good. I'm not really, maybe a little one under the mouth too. So there. Oh, you know what I forgot? I totally forgot the ear. So let's quickly color in this ear over here with the light color. And then we'll go back in and add a few shadows inside the ear, on the bottom of the ear, kind of on the outside. And we'll add a couple in there. All right, now I'm going to go in, put this marker off to the side. I'm going to go in with this color, which is a little bit darker. And I'm just going to add some darker shadows. So right along the side of the nose, I'm going to want that to be darker. This one has a nice kind of warm brown quality, which I like. So I'm not covering up everything that I did. I'm just here and there, maybe on the tops or bottoms of these shadows, adding a bit of darker color. I'm not too concerned about being perfect here. Okay, and now we're going to take our brushes. I'm just going to use the big brush. I'm not even going to bother using the small brush, but we don't want too much water. I've got a paper towel over here, so I'm going to dip my brush in the water and then wipe it off a little on the paper towel because I don't want it dripping wet. And then I'm just going to go in, and I don't even know if you'll notice anything while I'm doing this, if you'll even notice the colors blending together. I'm just going to brush a little bit and just sort of give everything a little more of a blend. And I probably really didn't even need to do this. I could have just left it the way it was, but it's a nice little extra step. So I'm just trying to soften the edges of these shadows. So there we go. Now we're going to I'm going to start coloring everything else on the face. So I'm going to finish coloring the eyes, and then I'm going to color the hat and the hair and inside the mouth. And then once I get done with that, I'll fast forward through all this, and then we'll start with the paint markers on the background. Okay, so I have finished coloring the face. You can see at the end there I added a few little spots of a little darker brown for a little bit of extra dark shadows, just to add a little more contrast. In fact, I might add one more over here. I feel like it could go on that side of the nose. We'll say that this is the darker side of the face. Quickly blend that slightly. All right, so, and you know what, I didn't even use some of these colors. That's okay. All right. And so I will be back in a moment, and we'll start doing the background with our paint markers. See you in a bit.